Before we get onto the Canadian election, I just want to ask Lesley Marks, our Chief Investment Officer at Mackenzie Investments, for her view on this anti-American sentiment we've been seeing around the world. For example, apparently tourist arrivals in America way down.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot written around the statistics around travel into the United States, whether it's land border crossing or through the airports. And I think there is some validity to that. I mean, people are making different choices. It's a big world out there. There's lots of places that people can travel. And there's a few things happening. I mean, it really started early for Canadians because we, were sort of reacting to the 51st state rhetoric. But now around the world, where the U.S. government has targeted many countries, almost all countries, with a tariff war, people are saying that, we're going to make different choices. And I think that this is a really important nuance for a couple of reasons. The first is, when we look at trade deficits, or as they've been presented, they're all focused on the goods deficit, and they don't include the services deficit. And it really diminishes the importance of tourism. When you think about tourists, when they come into your country, they're coming in and spending money in hotels, in restaurants, shopping. So there's a whole bunch of sort of tertiary impacts on an economy when you don't have those tourists. And maybe they appear to be in small numbers in relation to the U.S. population, but they certainly will impact the GDP of an economy, especially when those numbers are really coming together as a global view around anti-American sort of coming through more pro-nationalism with one's own country. The second point I wanted to make on this front is, as much as we talked about in the first segment about the idea of some shorter-term trade deals potentially coming through, the real question for investors is now becoming, what is the long-term damage around the events that have happened recently about views towards the United States as a trade partner, as you said, a partner versus an adversary? And we just really don't know. I mean, yes, people do have, some people say they have short memories or they have long memories, but I do think that even once we have trade deals with countries, whether it's our country or Europe or Asian countries, I still think that that sentiment might be sticking around a little bit, and it's really caused people to change their behaviors, and it could be more permanent than people realize. That
people think America not as reliable as it was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Give us your take on the Canadian federal election. What has jumped out for you?
Well, I think there's two things that are really important here. I mean, of course, the first thing is, the outcome, who is going to be our next prime minister, which we will know on Monday. But I think that from a markets perspective, I think that will have less impact on how markets perform. I mean, unless we get some major surprise. That would be the only scenario where we see a major reaction to markets. So I think that is, probably fairly benign. I think the more important thing, which is sort of taken a back seat here, is remember the conversation that our current prime minister had with President Trump around delaying trade negotiations for this country, because that has really brought the temperature down when it comes to the trade war for Canada vis-a-vis the United States. And once the election passes, the potential for a little bit more focus on Canada as a trading partner could have either positive or negative implications. But I think from a Canadian investor's perspective, that's really the thing that we should be focused on kind of the day after the election, not necessarily the outcome of our election.
Are you hearing anything that encourages you to believe that our dismal productivity performance will be improved?
Well, I think that both candidates that are leading right now, Poilievre and Carney, are very focused on productivity, and they understand the importance of generating more productivity on a per capita basis for Canadians as an important marker of our future potential. And so I think in both cases, again, with either candidate, we are going to see a focus on something that maybe hasn't been so much of a focus over the last 9 years. And I think overall that will be very good for Canada as a country. The last point I would make really is around the opportunity that we have here in Canada, and both potential leaders looking at slightly different strategies, but really focused on the Canadian resource side of our economy and leveraging that as a real point of strength for Canada in a global trade war.
It does feel like we've got too much bureaucracy and red tape delay in this country. I mean, to build a housing development takes years, same with approving a mine or something like that.
But we've heard... And again, with both governments or, both scenarios, either a conservative or a liberal government, there is a recognition that that is part of the productivity problem. And so we need to get rid of that red tape. We want to see more houses being built. We want to see more production from the various resource sectors of our economy. And the only way to do that is through smaller government.
Lesley, thank you very much.
Great to be here once again.
Lesley Marks, Chief Investment Officer at Mackenzie Investments. Coming up.